guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and this is my open book. In today's video, we're going to be doing my July reading wrap up. So grab a drink and grab a snack and let's get into the 10 books I read last month. Let's see. It's crazy. Every time when I look at what the first book is that I finished in the month, it feels like it was so long ago. So I have to like go back in the archives and remember. Okay. The first book I read in July was Sweet Sacrifice by Sav R. Miller. So I talked about the first two books in this series in my June wrap up. And this is a mafia series by Sav R. Miller that you're technically supposed to read before you read the Monsters and Muses series. So I'm kind of reading them out of order, but it's fine. This was my least favorite of the series. I think I only gave this one 2 stars. Not my favorite. The other two were so good though. I loved books 1 and 2 in this series. So this one just didn't really live up in my opinion. It's just crazy with Sav R. Miller because I feel like all of her books are like that. There are some that I love, but then there are other ones that like just don't hit for me at all. It's like either or with her. There's no in between. But I will say the men in this series are completely unhinged. Like they are on another level. This one is a brother's best friend. So in this one, the female main character is the sister to the male main character in book 2, and then it's his best friend. So the MMC is like the broody loner kind of type. He's not as much involved in the mafia, so I think that's also why this one didn't hit as hard for me, because he wasn't really as unhinged as the other two. So okay, next I read Coming in Hot by Josie Juniper. I loved Double Apex, the first book, and this one was really hyped for me because I love Josie Juniper's writing. Like she has great banter. The wit in her writing is top tier. And I do love this like Formula 1 setting. I think that she does it really well. And this one was a little bit of an age gap. The female main character is a reporter or like a journalist in this industry. And then the male main character, he is like pretty high up in the Formula 1 industry. I think he's like a manager for the team, if I'm not mistaken. And this does span a pretty long time because they do like have like a one night stand at the beginning, and then they have to be like in the same circuit for like years together, and this is their story. I was loving it. Like this was giving me 5-star energy. I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. Josie Juniper is amazing, which she still is. But this one, I think this is something that I just realized is a pet peeve of mine, where I usually see it in like Marriage in Trouble or like a second chance romance, but I guess there was a little bit of second chance vibes in here because they have like a 3rd act breakup, okay? If you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead to the next book. But they have a 3rd act breakup, which is fine. I don't mind that. Unfortunately, the reason why they get back together is because she realizes that she's pregnant. And that's what makes her call him, and like they start talking again, and it just feels like they kind of gloss over some of the issues they were having because they just want to make it work for the baby kind of thing. And that I think is problematic, and I think it like took away from their love story, because now I feel like you'll always wonder like would they have gotten back together if she wasn't pregnant, you know what I mean? So it was really hard for me to rate this. I ended up still rating it a 4 because the rest of the book was literally perfect. It was just the resolution to the 3rd act breakup. Like it's because it's not even a resolution. It's not. That kind of like tanked the ending for me, and I feel like it couldn't really come back from that in my opinion. Then I went into Binding 13, Boys of Tommen by Chloe Walsh. It's been a long time coming. I love an emotional romance like this, okay? But I knew this was gonna be a doozy. 1, because the books are really long. And 2, like I knew there was going to be heavy subject matter in here. This is another one that I feel like is going to be hard for me to rate because I did love the characters, of course. So this one follows 2 characters that meet in high school, and the female main character is in an abusive household, and the male main character, he's like really big in the rugby world, and it's basically like already known that he's going to be drafted to play professionally, and he's a couple years older than Shannon, but they do go to the same high school, and their meet cute is he accidentally hits her with a rugby ball like on her first day at the school. They go to Tommen College, which is like a private school, and it's her first day there because at her last school she was getting bullied ruthlessly, and so of course it turns into a big thing where they think she's getting bullied again because she got hit with a ball. But it really was an accident. But Johnny is definitely like smitten with her right away, And he's the kind of MMC where he likes everything to be controlled. Like, he has had his life mapped out and planned out for years, like since he was a kid. You know, he's very disciplined about things, and the fact that this girl is going to come in and disrupt his life is kind of scary to him. But he also feels bad because he doesn't want to start something with her. One, because she's a couple years younger, and two, because he knows he's going to be leaving for professional sports, you know, once high school is over, and he doesn't want to leave her like that. But there's just something about Shannon, he just feels his need to protect her. And their love story does span over 2 books, so Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I did read them together. And yeah, it's hard. I really don't know what to rate them. I'm going to be honest with you, because obviously I really feel for the characters. Their love story is beautiful. I also loved like the setting of this being in the UK. All the side characters and their friends are really funny, and of course like they all get their own book, so it really does like get you invested into their love stories too. But it really is just too long. I'm sorry. They really are too long. And I think it only spans like, aren't they only together for like a year? Is it only the 1 school year, or are there 2 school years in the 2? I can't remember, but still, it's way too long in my opinion. So I feel like it's hard for me to give it a 5-star, because there were a lot of parts that I was just skimming because like nothing happens. And if I'm like really invested in the characters, I like that, because I want to know everything that they do. Like, I want every morsel I can get. But for some reason with this couple, there was something I disliked about them. But I think I just wasn't as invested because maybe because their story was more predictable. I don't know. It's tricky. I love it because I think Chloe Walsh did a great job of writing high school romance, because I married my high school sweetheart, so I obviously have a soft spot in my heart for high school love, and how you just have that feeling like you know this is your person, but everyone around you is telling you that they can't possibly be your person because you're too young, and no one takes your relationship seriously, even though you know that it's deep and that it's more than meets the eye. And so I do think she captured that dynamic really well. So I did appreciate that. But yeah, I just feel like there were a lot of filler scenes that didn't really need to be in there. And with how long these 2 books were, it just felt a little much for me personally. So maybe I'll do like a 4-star for like both books combined. I don't know. Like I said, it was really good. I don't like, it's just not like anything was bad. I just feel like it was too long for me. Then I went into Where We End and Begin. I was really excited for this one because it's a second chance romance. It's star-crossed lovers. She's kind of like from the rich side of town. He's from the poor side of town. And they were together back in high school. Something happened. And she went to college in the United States, but he stayed behind. And they cut contact with each other. They haven't spoken since. And she has to go back to her hometown in Nigeria for a friend's wedding. And they get reunited. All this stuff comes back up. But she's engaged to somebody else. And she finds out that he's been kind of like a player and like sleeping around with people. And obviously like while she's there, she does want to get closure, because when she went to college in the States and they never spoke again, like she did try to contact him, but he never responded. So if she feels like she needs closure, so she does like go to spend the weekend with him while she's there because her fiance is back home. So there's a little bit of messiness here. If you don't like cheating, you won't like this. I obviously don't like cheating in real life, but in books I don't mind it. I think it adds to the drama, so I did appreciate that. And I did love the characters. I personally saw the plot twist coming from a mile away as to like what happened all those years ago and why like she feels the way that she does and why like they never spoke again. So, but you do kind of uncover that. This is dual timeline, and I'm pretty sure this is written in the way where all the past point of views are from his point of view. Hopefully I'm not making that up. For some reason I remember like most of the past point of views are in the MMC's POV, and then all the present timeline chapters are from the FMC's point of view, which I love when the author splits it up like that. I think it makes it much more entertaining. But yeah, this one, I apparently didn't rate this one either. Okay, that's cool. I feel like this one I'll probably also give a 4-star. Again, it had 5-star potential, but I just wasn't sure, like I said, about like when you find out what the plot twist was. I already knew what it was going to be, and I'm still not sure how I feel about the way it was handled, but I don't want to spoil anything. So, but yeah, I think if you like second chance romance, you're still going to like this. I do like the author's writing style, and I was really invested in the characters. I love dual timeline, so it definitely checked a lot of my boxes. So pretty solid, 4-star, second chance romance for sure. Then I read Oaths and Omissions, which is the next book in the Monsters and Muses series. This is actually number 3. So again, Savar Miller. Unfortunately, this is another one where it just didn't hit for me. I gave it 2.5 stars. This one is about an FMC who is part of this like rich real estate mogul family, and she's kind of used by them as like a social media princess to try and like get the brand publicity, and she has to like pretend to be like the good girl in the media. Her parents are like very controlling. Unfortunately, something terrible happened to her recently with her ex-boyfriend, and she finds out that her dad was involved, so she just wants nothing to do with these people anymore. But of course, her dad and her ex-boyfriend are still trying to like keep them in the little box that she's been in all these years. And then you enter the MMC, who is actually the guy who tried to kill her dad like years ago. And they end up going into a fake dating arrangement. So it's definitely an interesting premise, and like it wasn't terrible, but I don't know, this one felt a little like, what am I trying to say? This felt like it was written for book talk. You know those books I'm talking about where the author like uses specific scenes because of like the dirty talk in them and not really because it like drives the relationship forward? Or like scenes with the FMC and the MMC, like there's a scene pretty early on in the book where she is defending herself against somebody at a party, and the MMC like walks in and sees her like over the guy's body and like blood all over her. I don't know, it just felt like it was written for book talk. Like it was written for the shock value and not for like the emotional investment of the relationship, if that makes sense. So because of that, it was hard for me to feel invested in their relationship, especially because it was fake dating. So it's like, it already feels fake because of the writing, and then it felt fake because it's literally fake dating. So it was hard for me to like believe them as a couple, because even after they realize that they're attracted to each other and they start to have feelings, it's mostly sexual and not really anything emotional or personal. So I don't know, I think that's why this one didn't really hit for me. But I still like Savar Miller's world that she's creating. You know, I like how these are kind of loosely inspired by Greek mythology. This one was inspired by Helen of Troy, I believe. So I think she has interesting concepts in her book. So I'm gonna keep reading, I'm gonna continue the series, but some of them just don't hit. I have to like really be invested in the characters for it to be like a 4 or 5 star. You know what I mean? Then I went into Saving Six, which is the next set of books in the Boys of Tommen series. So this is actually about Joey and Aoife. Joey is the brother of Shannon in the first book. So he is in the abusive household as well, unfortunately. So you still get that storyline of those terrible parents. Oh, they make me sick. Aoife, I love her character. She's like fiery, she stands up for herself, she stands up for Joey. And obviously Joey has a very like tragic backstory, right? But there's something about Joey and Aoife where I like their dynamic so much more than Johnny and Shannon. So I gave this 5 stars. This, I understood. I think this book was a little bit shorter as well, and I'm reading the second book right now, which is so much longer. It's like over 700 pages. Redeeming Six, I believe. And with these characters, I understand why the books are so long, because they actually meet when they're 12. And then it spans like years, like multiple years. So it's basically like their entire, I think from like middle school to high school, right? I'm still kind of learning the UK schooling system, how like the years are different, but I know they meet when they're 12, and I think it goes up until they're like 18. So it makes sense why the books are so long. And it's great because they kind of start a friendship first. And I like how in this one the roles are reversed a little bit, because Joey, he's in the same household, right? Abusive, toxic, terrible, absolutely horrific. He's technically the second oldest sibling, but his older brother Darren left home when he turned 18 years ago. So now Joey is the one that has to take care of him and his 4 siblings. So he's basically a parent already. And like, well, at the age of 12, basically he became a parent. I think Aoife does kind of have that same feeling that Johnny had about Shannon, where she feels like there's something about Joey that she just has to protect. Like she just has to do something for him. And she has really good intuition because she's right, but no one else takes care of Joey. So I think it's beautiful to see Aoife fight for Joey, even against Joey, because Joey doesn't want anyone taking care of him. He's very stubborn, but Aoife never gives up on him. And I think that's just beautiful. And you do read this in the first 2 books, but Joey does struggle with substance abuse and drug addictions and things like that. Yeah, I connected to these characters much more personally. So I think I was a lot more invested. So the length of the books doesn't bother me as much with these characters. So these are definitely going to be 5 stars. I'm obviously not finished with Redeeming 6 yet. I'm reading that as we speak. And it says I still have like 9 hours left in that book. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it ends up because there are parts that overlap in the timeline. So I know something that's coming up in Joey and Aoife's book that I know because it happened in Shannon's book. You know what I mean? So I know there's still a lot more to come and I'm excited about it. I'm really enjoying the series. Then I read The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is my book club pick with Katie, and I will link the live show up above so you can see our full thoughts. This one is another dual timeline, but it's a thriller. So in this one, there's one female character in the 80s. She goes to like get away from her life at home, and she runs across this small town in upstate New York, and she decides to work at this motel on the night shift. Weird stuff starts happening. She disappears. Then cut to 2017, and her niece has recently lost her mother, and she's trying to get answers about her aunt that went missing. So she goes to the same small town. She works at the same hotel, the same shift. And it was cool to have the dual timeline with like the parallels of her aunt's life and her life. The audiobook was actually pretty good too. So it was definitely a very interesting setup. There was a little bit of a paranormal aspect. So it was interesting for sure. If you want to see our full thoughts, you can go to the live show though. I ended up rating this one 4 stars. Then, oh my god, I think this is my top read of the month. I got this as a birthday gift. This special edition of Second Chances in Newport Stephen by TJ Alexander. Can we just take a minute? So this takes place in Florida, and it's kind of like, I read this because it kind of gives Christmas and July vibes because it takes place over Christmas time in Florida. And our 2 main characters are Eli and Nick. So Eli has been in New York. He's been a writer, a stand-up comedian, all these things. But he's currently out of a job, and he is going home for the holidays. He's just going to stay there for the foreseeable future because he doesn't know what his next job is going to be. And you find out that Eli is a trans man. So obviously coming back to his town where he grew up is really hard for him because there are people who still, you know, haven't come to terms with the fact that he has transitioned. And it's hard going like to his parents' house and seeing all these pictures of him as his dead name version of himself. So very emotional, but TJ Alexander does great humor to kind of like balance it out. If you've ever lived in Florida, you are gonna love this book because the Florida references are iconic, and I think that she talks about what it's like to live in Florida so well. The other real main character, Nick, actually used to date Eli in high school when Eli was previously female. So they get reunited at the store, and obviously Nick doesn't recognize Eli because that's not what Eli looked like before. So I thought their meet cute, like second meet cute, was really amazing. And Nick is actually a single dad now, and they end up spending time together again, and things blossom. And this is great. I think that TJ Alexander does great queer representation across all of her books, but this one especially, I think the way she handled trans representation was perfect. It also, like, just the concept of sexuality being fluid and like changing over time, and how even though they're in their 40s actually, or like about to be 40, I can't remember their exact age, but they're older, and the fact that they're still kind of learning about themselves and like doing more research about sexuality and like what applies to them and what their preferences are. Like, I think that just, it's a great conversation to have, and this was well done. Definitely a 6-star book for me. I loved it. It also came with this cute art print. This is them with Nick's daughter. Super cute. I'm obsessed. And the last book I read was very interesting. This is The Compound by Aisling Rawl. I'm a Love Island fan. I am watching season 7 right now. I like to wait until it's over before I watch so I don't have to wait in between episodes. So I know season 7 already ended, but I'm just now on like episode 20, I think. So no spoilers. Basically, Love Island is a dating show where all these people live in a house together on an island, and they try to find the love of their life. Okay, so The Compound is kind of like Love Island meets Lord of the Flies. It's more like survival Love Island in a way. It kind of gives dystopian vibes, which I am here for. This was another one that I really wanted to give 5 stars. I was totally planning on it. It was gripping, it was interesting, it was unique, like such crazy character dynamics. You really had no idea what was gonna happen next. And it was cool to see, like I said, the kind of survival element where it was definitely much more high stakes than regular Love Island. Like they're the ones that have to cook and clean, and they have to do challenges in order to earn things like food and places to sit and sunscreen. You know, like it really is like they have to do these tasks on camera for the world to see that they don't want to do, because they have to work together in order to try and survive in this house, let alone also find someone to be in a couple with. Because if you go to bed and someone doesn't want to share a bed with you, you get taken in the middle of the night and you're eliminated from the show. So yeah, it's crazy, and it was a good time. I really enjoyed reading it. However, the ending, I was not a fan. It was very abrupt, and I understood why the author wrote it that way, but I didn't enjoy it. So I can't give it a 5 star because I personally didn't like the ending, even though I understood it. So it's another 4 star, which is still really solid. All right, that's gonna be it for this wrap up. Be sure to give this video a like and hit that subscribe button so you can see my future videos. And leave a comment down below telling me, have you read any of these books? Do you have any recommendations for me? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.